to come and interview for the post of the special assistant to the Minister of Finance when the ministers were chosen. So I was in Nigeria and I was interviewing with the minister's friends who were shopping for an assistant for her. And they started to ask me about my hijab. So they were very strong Christians. And they said, what about this your hijab, this your religion? And I said, to see where I come from, nobody has a right to talk about what's on my head. It's only because we're in Nigeria that you can have this conversation with me, and I don't know why. I gave them the answer quickly. So the next day, it was a Thursday, the next day we were supposed to fly to Abuja to meet the minister. And then I'll come back to the US, pack my things and go back home. And that night, the news broke that the Nigerian budget got missing. There was a whole buhara. I don't know if you guys watch Nigerian news. And the budget got missing and the minister said, she has to shelve the meeting. Anyway, I waited in Nigeria, I waited, I couldn't wait anymore. I came back to the US. After a while, I was like, you know what, I don't think this job is for me. If I was supposed to be essay to the president and it went crazy, essay to the minister and it went crazy, I'm like, let me just stay in the US. If I had gotten that job, please, if you saw me on CNN the day I spoke beside Hillary Clinton, please let me see your hand. I have something else for you. I have something else for you. I didn't understand it, but Allah had it. I had to trust that Allah had it in stock for me. I didn't carry the failure of the Nigerian one on my back. I came here and I was doing my work. And I got here and I started to remember that 2 years before I had bought my dress to go visit Obama, right? I had bought my dress, I was like, this dress, I bought it when my dad died for $400. And me, I'm a Jabo. I won't buy anything for more than $100, let me tell you. If I buy this for more than $100, it must be that it's for the Queen or Obama. One of the two. So I was looking at the dress I had bought for 2 years and I said, Obama is leaving this year. And I have not worn this dress to the White House. And I wrote a letter to a friend of mine who worked at the State Department and I said, the title of the email was, please don't laugh. In the body I wrote, I know you don't work in the White House, and I know you don't work with the president, but I'd like to go to the iftar dinner that the president has every year for members of Congress and Muslim ambassadors. Please let me know how this can happen. She wrote me back, ha 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 ha. She was like, I know you said I shouldn't laugh, but are you a member of Congress? Are you a Muslim ambassador? She said, even I don't know how to get there. I said, okay, let's do this. I knew that my only chance of meeting Obama was the iftar dinner, which I wasn't qualified for. But I had come back to America for big things to happen, right? You have to believe Allah that when something that you've been knocking on the door of does not happen, big things are about to happen for you. So I was back in Nigeria during Ramadan that year. It was about July. I was in Abuja and I was telling my husband that, hey, Ramadan is almost ending. And they've not even had the iftar. Because I've been watching CNN, they've not had this iftar. And every president has iftar one night. And I don't even have my IV. He was like, please, I beg. I said, okay, no problem. Me, I'm here, asking Allah for my thing. The next thing, about a week before the end of Ramadan, I got an invitation. Obama wasn't having an iftar that year. It was last year. He was having an Eid party. And he wanted to invite 100 Muslim Americans. Whose name wasn't released? Mine. They said, dress code should be business formal. I said, you don't even know. I have a dress that me I've bought for 3 years. It's neither formal nor business. But I'm going to this White House. I went to the White House. There are 4 security checks to get into the White House. 4. The first one was okay. I entered. Second one, ID check, policeman, okay. Third one, ID check, policeman, okay. The fourth one is inside the East Wing itself. And that one is you, a man, and a dog. If you know me, there are 2 things I'm afraid of in this life. Dog and water. I saw the dog. I asked the man, I said, question please, before I entered this room. He said, well, I said, is the president really in that room? He said, yes. I said, okay, bring the dog now. Me, I'm looking at the dog that there's no way. from seeing Obama. So I went in there, and it was a good time. We met the president, we ate halal food, we saw Thomas Jefferson's Quran. It was great, it was fantastic, and I said, now I want to vote for Clinton, so that I can come back to the White House. You all know how that ended up, right? But the reason why I say this is because just a few months before then, my path was different. Ayah 2 and 3. He says that when you put your trust in him, he will create a way for you from where you never even thought existed. And one of the last parts of Ayah 3, he says that for everything there's a term appointed. I want us to emphasize on that, a term being appointed. Sometimes when you are failing at something, when you're, it has your purpose in it. It has clues in it for your purpose. But many of us, we can't see it. Now we're going to do another exercise. Everybody please stand up.
So every 10 minutes,
Yeah.
I want you to think about 7 words, a sentence of 7 words that describes you. It can be less than 7 words, but it must not be more. And when you say that, when you write that sentence for me, somebody who knows you here must recognize you by it. Yeah. Think about a statement that is less than 7 words. That when I read it out and I say, who is this? They will recognize you by it. For example, if you ask me to describe myself, I say I am built to inspire. That's what I think I'm made for. And that's what I work towards. What is your statement of 7 words or less? Okay, do we have it? Are we ready? You're not ready? What is your brand? Are you ready? Is she thinking about it? Are you ready? Because you're going fast. You know? Please come up. Everyone please sit down. You don't know who I'm calling next though. What's your brand statement?
I'm a caring person.
You're a caring person. I want something bigger. You like to help people. First of all, wait. Who knows you from home here? That's your brother? Is he a caring person? Or what would you say? What would be his statement? What do you think? How do you think he would describe himself? Like, what comes to your mind when you think about him? He's the same thing. He loves people. Thank you very much. I want something deeper. Thank you. Yes, please come up. Many of us go around life without a brand. And what we do, when you don't have a brand, what are you doing? You are blending. We're not in America to blend, though. You are an ambassador of a brand. As a black, Muslim, hijabi woman, you're not here to blend. If you've been blending, if you've been fitting in, you're not doing the right thing. What's your statement?
I'm strong, intelligent, and caring.
Strong, intelligent, and caring woman. I like that. That's bold and that's brave. Takbir. Please. Yes. And I'll take one more woman too.
I'm an optimist and a go-getter.
He's an optimist and a go-getter. Who knows him from home here? I want one more lady to tell me their brand statement. Yes, sister.
I'm a universe within a vessel.
Okay. Where are you from? What state are you from? From Dallas, Texas. Takbir. loaded. And I hope you're leaving that. Fantastic, mashallah. You see, many of us, we think we are this, but we act this. Whatever you think you are always on duty, and you better always be on duty. When I went to the Clinton campaign, I was, of course, the one that stood out. Who is from Michigan here? Anybody from Michigan? I was posted to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Grand Rapids is a conservative white Christian town. So of course I stood out in the town. But I've already grown old enough to know not to remove my hijab for anything. Not to dull my Islam for anything. I was me. And of course, campaigning with Democrats meant that everybody was in our midst, right? Gay and lesbian, Indian, all kinds of people. We had it all. It didn't matter what my religious leaning about anything was. I was being me. So there were some interns that we had who were high school kids. They were 17 years old. They were girls. And you know, I started to help them with their SAT. I started to help them with their essays. This was me. I was inspiring them. This is what I'm built to do. So I was doing my job. To the extent that when the boys from their class want to come to the campaign office, they will tell them from school, we have a Nigerian auntie in our office. If your SAT is not 1500, don't come. Because as the boys come in with the lunch for the girls, I'll say, yes, what's your name? Who are you looking for? Maggie. What is have you done your SAT? What did you get? Which color? The boys, they were like intimidated. But let me tell you what happened. I was being me. It wasn't the campaign job. I was being me. I left Grand Rapids after the campaign in November. In June, in 2017, graduation season, I was in Nigeria when I got a call from the school that those interns went to. They said, you are the commencement speaker. The school was 99% white. There was only one person who wasn't white, and that person was not black. Was Asian, Japanese or Chinese or Korean, one of those things. But I was living my truth. I have always wanted to speak at a graduation. Always. Always. But if I went to Michigan and I was doing another job, wearing another hat, would it have happened? Many of us, we get somewhere and we remove who we are. We remove the care that you have in you. You say, no, I don't want to look weak. I don't want to look soft. So because of that, you assume somebody else's personality so that you can fit in. And when you fit in, when you stand in with people, nobody knows who you are. If I got to the Clinton campaign and I fit in with the 250 organizers there, they wouldn't have requested that I was the only one who spoke. If you watch that campaign a day before the election, there were 3 people who spoke that day: Hillary Clinton, the senator from Michigan, Debbie Stabenow, and myself. And I didn't fight for it. I didn't ask for it. They just called from Brooklyn, the headquarters, and said, that girl who covers her head, the black one, is the one who will speak. Because I didn't try to fit in. We get here to this country, whether you were born in Nigeria or you were born here to Nigerian parents, and you know, those who were born here, you know how Nigerian your parents are, right? They are like embarrassingly Nigerian. So you think, let me shed that one a little bit so that I can fit in. There is no prize for those who fit in. There is no prize for anybody who doesn't want to fit. There is no prize for anybody who wants to look like the rest of us. Because the world is not looking for another Bill Gates. The world is not looking for another Mark Zuckerberg. The world is looking for another you and another me. And it takes courage to stand up and be what the world needs. It takes courage. It takes a fearless person to decide to look into the mirror every day and say, this is who Allah created, and I'm going to embrace it. And I'm going to ask Allah to help me to see what He has created around me so that I can be exactly who He wants me to be. Many of us are embarrassed about the person Allah created. You know what you're doing when you do that? You are telling Allah He made a mistake. You are embarrassed. You don't want your dark skin to be too dark. So instead of bleaching your skin, you use a lighter foundation. Are you saying Allah made a mistake? No, He didn't. Instead of using your normal voice, the girls aren't going to fall for that. You say, ha, this is America. You change it so that there's a little swag in there, so that you can blend with the rest. There's no price for blending. But it takes only somebody who is bold and fearless to be able to stand out. As Muslims, we're supposed to stand out. As people who believe in the prophets, including Prophet Musa alayhi salam, we're supposed to stand out. Musa alayhi salam, people ask me about purpose all the time. Musa alayhi salam, in finding his purpose, what did he do? What did he do? I want you to think about this very well. Musa, he was born a crime, right? He was born a crime. The male children who were being born at the time he was born, the Egyptians, what were they doing to them? They were killing them. And now they've given it to this male child, and Allah is telling his mom to do what? To put him in the basket on the Nile. Think about that. Does that even make sense to my human mind? You've already given birth to a crime, and they said put it on the river and let him flow away. Anyway, he grows up in the house of the enemy. And he starts to seek for knowledge. He starts to seek for knowledge. In Surah Al-Kahf, which I'm sure we all read on Fridays, right? Except me. Okay. In Surah Al-Kahf, Allah was telling us the story of how Musa was with this learned wise man, right? And the man killed a boy. And Musa was like, why? We got here on Saturday.
ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب.
So I go to Tampa, not in this hotel, and I switched off my phone because I wanted to recap my year and to hear from Allah. I wanted to be still. That I learned from prophets like Musa alayhi salam. Which prophet did we see in the Quran that Allah gave him revelations in the marketplace? Which one? Which one? No. When Allah spoke with Musa alayhi salam, what happened? He was going with his family. He saw light, fire. And what did he do? He told his family, wait here while I go and check. He was alone when Allah gave him his marching orders. But many of us don't want alone time. And when we use every excuse not to have alone time, my baby needs me, my sister needs me, my mom needs me, my friends can't do it without me. So we can't get alone time, but how can Allah talk to you if you don't have alone time? How? How? We're so scared of the time alone with Allah. We are the first to do tahajjud. We are the first to get to the masjid for salah. We are the first to talk to Allah, but how does Allah talk to you back? If you never hear Allah talking back to you, if you don't hear, if Allah has to tell somebody to tell you something, then that means He's calling you and your line is engaged. Because He speaks to all of us through our experiences and through our silence. So if you're ready to deal with your fears and to ask Allah how to process the fears and what it will do, then you must be ready to spend time communicating with Him.
So real quick, once this lecture is over, we are not expected to leave. The next lecture will start because we are running late. So just remain seated.
So, but because we don't have that stillness, because we don't talk to Allah enough, because we don't give Him a chance in our lives, we can't hear. Things happen to you, that thing you wrote in your first sheet of paper, it happens, and you don't even know how to process it because you've not given yourself time. In July this year, I had a contract, because I do contract work when I'm in the US, and I had a contract, and it was exactly what I wanted. It was exactly what I asked Allah for. There was no ifs and buts. I came back to the US in May, June, Ramadan, and I said, oh Allah, I want a CFO or controller work 2 times a week or 3 times a week, not far from my house. I was very specific. I called my agent, and my agent said, oh, I have a job for you. It's 40 hours a week. It's in the pharmaceutical, and it is in Rockville, Maryland. And I said, no, that's not what I want. That's everything I don't want. I don't want to work 40 hours a week. I have other things I do. And I don't want to work in Rockville, Maryland. And I said, I told you I only want to work for non-profits. So he said, yeah, I heard you, but I thought you said you were broke. I said, yeah, what does that have to do with anything? Because I have made a vow with Allah that I will never do anything just for the money, ever. Ever in my life. There must be another reason. I didn't say I would do work free, but I said I won't do, money will not be the reason why I will do something. There has to be meaning. So this guy called me that day, it was about 12 noon. And when I hung up the phone, I was like, oh my God, are you crazy? What are you doing? You don't have money. And they called you for a job and you said no. Ah, God. I said, I trust Allah. At 5 p.m., he called me. He said, I have a contract for you. It is 24 hours a week, 8 hours from your home, 16 hours from the work. It is head of accounting with the non-profit that wants to ensure digital rights for all, including Africans. I said, exactly, that's what I'm saying. I went, I started the job. It was great. The first week, I was on a flight to London to have a meeting on their behalf. I was bawling, but there was something not right. I had an event, I had Shio that I was planning for July 28th. And I needed time, but this thing was consuming my entire, brain. July 5th, a day after independence, I got a call that I had lost the contract. There was still 3 weeks left in that contract. And you see, before I began to grow as a Muslim, I would have panicked. I would have panicked and I would have thrown a fit. What did I do? How did this happen? But I said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I said, oh Allah, I don't understand. I don't understand why I lost this contract. But I know you have a reason. That was 3 weeks to my big event. Who was at Shio here? Yes, I see, aha. Did you not see the mayor of Baltimore at Shio? Did you not see the VP of Verizon at Shio? All those things happened between the time I lost the contract and Shio. Allah needed to free me to go back and forth to City Hall to convince a mayor who didn't know me to come to my event. Allah needed to free me to convince the senior VP of Verizon in charge of diversity to come to my event, to drive 4 hours to come to my event in Baltimore. Allah. We have to trust Allah. At the point when we are most afraid, that's when trust is required. It is never easy. It's never going to be easy. But if you don't trust Allah when you are afraid, when you are failing, you will never experience the success that Allah created you for. And if you are here, whether you're a brother or a sister, I promise you Allah created you for greatness. But you have to be bold enough to step into it. You have to be unapologetic about your Islam to understand that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I'll tell you one last thing about failure, and then I'll take questions. In 2008, I was 31 years old. I'm the second of 6 children. I was the only one of the girls who wasn't married. And I was under pressure. If you feel me and you are single, you don't have to raise up your hand. You know what I mean.
Yes.
And if your parents are Nigerian, you know 31, you are 6 years past your expiry date. They are already singing. And I was under so much pressure. And I went to Nigeria in March of that year. And my uncle said, he's a doctor. He said, it's okay. If it's all this work that you are doing that is making you not married yet, it's okay. As long as you're not gay. Oh my God. I had heard every reason why I was unmarried but that one. So on my way back to the US, I said, if the TSA agent asked me to marry him, I'll marry him. I wasn't playing. I got back to the US. From that March 22, I cannot forget the date, that I got back in, till August 31st, when Ramadan started, I had a wedding every weekend. Every weekend. I was in St. Louis for Sade's cousin's wedding. I was everywhere. Everyone was getting married. And I was like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Right? So I said, well, I said I'll marry anybody. So I found somebody, and I was like, yes, you are the one. No matter how many red flags there were, I was going down this aisle. Draped in the red flags, I was going. So I got married, yeah, and it was a huge wedding. Child, you people know Lagos now, you know how we roll. Limousine, Sonia Day, one day call, Yemi Sachs, on television every month, wedding of the month, TV Continental. It was huge. The week before the wedding, I wanted to walk, to run. But I thought about all the magazines that I carried that I was getting married. And I thought, oh my God, I'm doing this wedding now. But nothing can happen. If they beat me, it's okay. And I was in that marriage for exactly 2 years, 8 months. And you know, before, I used to say it was the worst 2 years, 8 months of my life, but no. It has to be the time I got my diploma to stand here to talk to you. If I didn't go through that, I would not have written 3 books. If I did not go through that, I would not have met Hillary Clinton. No, it would never have happened. Because there are some pains that you have to go through that will do nothing but birth a new you. If I did not go through that marriage, I would not have married my husband. Never. And he's not here, so he will not be embarrassed when I say that my husband, who I've been married to for 2 years and some time, almost 3 years, has to be the best decision I've ever made in my life. I'm 41 years old, is the best decision I've ever made. And I married him after seeing him 3 months. 3 months. The first one, I married him after about almost 2 years of courtship. This one, 3 months. We saw each other December 2015. December 31st. We got married April 1st, 2016. And it's the best decision I've ever made. What was different about those 2 decisions for me? What was different? I had learned how to trust Allah. I had learned how to make my intention clear. The first one, I wanted to get married so I could blend with the married folks, right? This time around, I wanted to get married because I had seen the man who would not try to clip the wings that God gave me. And I had seen the man who would make me closer to Allah, not through pain, but through pleasure. My sisters, my brothers, if you are not married, raise up your hand. Alhamdulillah. Please, ladies, do not marry a man who will clip your wings. God has given you wings. Guys, do not marry a woman you can control. There's nothing fun about that. Marry somebody who you will be proud and happy to stand beside on the day of Yom Kippur. Marry somebody who you will be happy to tell Allah that the person made you better and you make the person better. Marry the person who will not try to mold you, to make you fit into what you're not. Marry the person who will embrace you for standing out. When I spoke that day, if you ever go to YouTube and you watch the video of me speaking on the Hillary stage, there was somebody who was shouting my name. That was my husband. He went with me to Michigan, worked 17 hours a day as my intern. My husband is 10 years, 9 months older than me. He was my intern, unpaid, for 3 months on the campaign. And every time a celebrity was coming to Michigan, he didn't want to come. But when Hillary was coming and I was speaking, he said, I'm coming to record you. Marry somebody who will support you. Marry somebody who you will support. But if you have ever made a mistake regarding a relationship, do not build real estate on it. Take the lesson in sheet number 2 and move on and move forward. Find clarity and purpose in your mistakes and grow bigger and better. May Almighty Allah grant you success. May Allah forgive me for my mistakes, and may Allah reward you for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I hope you all feel inspired as well. Inshallah, we can take 1 or 2 questions. You can write it down on a piece of paper if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable saying it out loud, or if you want to, you can raise your hand.
No questions. All the single people, no questions. Ask your questions now. If you want to write it down, maybe they can write it on paper and give it to you.
Yeah.
If you're shy, please write it down. Give it to her.
I don't really have a question, we have a request. So yesterday there was like a group 3 and group 4 session late at night where people were talking about relationships. But I think what was helpful last year at Yasser was when you and some of the other ladies had that panel where we talk. If we do that again, that would be great, because no judgment to anyone here, but I think if you haven't had a lot of life experiences, we're basically the blind. Me included, I'm not any different than you, but we have students who had experiences, students who are married, who say this is what works, this is my ideal, this is my reality, and here's how I bridge the two. That would be really important. So if we can have that time with you, that would be amazing.
Assalamu alaikum. Like I said, I'm going to Nigeria today, inshallah. But we will meet in Yasser, inshallah. But I want to say one thing about that. Sometimes about ideal, I like what you brought up. We had that in Colorado, and I think that was great.
Yes.
About your ideal and about your reality. Sisters who aren't married, please do not settle.
Yes.
But what is settling? What is settling? So let me give you 2 big realities. My first husband, who beats the crap out of me, had 2 master's degrees, a bachelor's degree, or 2 bachelors and 1 master's. And he was from the same social circle that I was from, right? My husband, who I'm married to now, who I've told you is the best thing ever that ever happened to me, didn't go to college. My husband, who I'm married to now, is a farmer. Is that settling? No. When I was preparing what to say here, the biggest input, obviously and always, came from my husband. Say this, say this, say this, don't say this, say this. He's the most intelligent person that I know. But I had to understand that the first time I settled, when somebody, sisters, I'm saying this to you, when somebody's core values differ from yours, and you marry them, you're settling. Even if the person prays 5 times a day, you know these guys, and you know how they can be. They will come with their mustache, their beard, and their chalabia, and all of this stuff. Sorry. They're up and down. It means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Only Allah knows who is worshiping Him. But what are your core values, my sister? Do you have any? Do you have any? The first thing I told my husband when we started to talk, I said, you know what? If I was an animal, I'll be a butterfly. He said, what does that mean? I said, today I'm in Japan, tomorrow I'm in Australia, the next day I'm in Korea. Does it work for you? He said, as long as I know where you are. And when you are with me, you are with me. Can you do that? I said, I can do that. I said, so please don't complain when I have to go and walk somewhere. He's here. He's going back to Maryland tomorrow. I'm going to Nigeria today. And this is my 4th trip to Nigeria this year. And he has never complained. But you know the worst part is somebody saying, Sister Toko's husband does not complain. So I'm also going to look for a husband who will allow me to travel if that's not your mission. Don't be like me. Be you. If you are the kind that you like to be indoors, find a husband that wants a sister that wants to be indoors. If you are the one that your work, that you are clear with Allah, is on the road, find a husband that can either come with you or is okay with you going and coming. But most importantly, find a man that is spiritually mature. They don't earn that in college. I didn't say physically mature. That can be bullying. Spiritually mature. A man who is spiritually mature will not compete with you. A woman who is spiritually mature will not compete with you. A woman who is spiritually mature will not fight you when you want to take care of her. They won't. A man who is spiritually mature will not tell you not to walk outside the house if that's your mission that has been cleared with Allah. And a man who is spiritually mature will not tell you to remove your hijab if you have cleared that with Allah. What is your ideal? That's the question. And are you settling? Yes.
Can you talk briefly about, remember that one of your speakers, she talked about sisters finding their purpose before marriage. And marrying somebody that's in line with their purpose is very difficult for sisters that are single.
So I wrote something on Facebook about 3 years ago, and that thing got me a lot of unfriending. It was so controversial. I said, a woman must see finding a husband like a Fortune 1 organization, Walmart or ExxonMobil, sees finding a CEO. If you're a woman, you must see yourself as a COO, Chief Operating Officer, that wants to hire a CEO. Which kind of CEO are you looking for? One that is aligned with your mission. Can you imagine Walmart going to hire somebody who knows nothing about retail? Somebody who has no interest in retail? Who has absolutely zero interest in making Walmart better, right? But the question is, who are you as a sister? Who are you? Marriage is for those who are emotionally mature. It's not age. It's not age. Somebody can be emotionally mature. That sister, I don't want to ask her what her age is, but the sister who told me that she's the universe within a vessel, I mean, that's deep. For you to come up with something like that, you have thought deeply. Those aren't just words. She's probably not my age when I got married. I don't know if you're 32, but at the time when I was 32 and I was getting married the first time, I couldn't tell that I was built to inspire. The reason why some of us will have problems is because we don't even know what our mission is. Imagine marrying a guy, he thinks that you are this way. You now marry him, finish, you say he's trying to control you. He's not trying to control you, it's you that you are changing because you weren't clear about who you were before. So it's not about your mom wanting you to get married, your dad wanting you to get married, they all want to have a party, right? The key is, who are you? And many of us will never know who we are until we start having challenges.
You spoke a lot about faith and how going through that process is what you have to start to find yourself. But I guess for all of us here who may or may not have gone through that process, what would you give as just practical steps when you find yourself in that place where you're like, oh my God, how did I get here? Like everything has crumbled. How do you find that strength to get up and actually find practical lessons and find something to inspire you to do like this is not
So she said, I talked about failure. And for those who haven't really experienced those kind of big failures, and they finally get there, they finally grow up, and finally see, how do you get yourself back up? When I was in my first year in university in Nigeria, first year, I was 16, almost 17. So we're having a cost accounting. Who's an accountant here? Anybody accounting major? Mm-hmm. So you know cost accounting, right? So we're having a cost accounting test. And the teacher placed a third year, first year to sit together. If you've ever been in a Nigerian college before, it's not like this one that you will sit down and be like, we're many. So I opened the script. I had no idea for anything. This was my first test in cost accounting, and I knew nothing. Like, I looked at that question script from number 1 to number 6 to number 1, no idea. And me, she said when she was reading my Bible, I was the best graduation student in my entire faculty in university. I was an ICANN prize winner. I was, always collecting prizes. So this was my first time failing ever. I looked at the person on my left. The person is a third year student doing their own nemesis. The one on my right, third year doing their own nemesis. I was like, oh my goodness. There are other words you can use to describe that goodness, right? So I said, I think I'm just going to get up and leave. But I decided to write my name so that the teacher will know that I came. So as I was leaving the hall, the teacher said, if you submit your script, you will get an extra 3 points. So I said, fantastic. So I submitted my script. And the teacher gave me 3/30. In Nigeria, it's not like here. You have a test and you have an exam, and that's it. So I went to my dad's office, may Allah rest his soul, and I said, hey, I don't think I want to be an accountant anymore. He said, why? I said, cost accounting, the crux of the profession. I don't know it. He said, you don't know it? I said, no, I just got 3/30. He said, that's good. You still have a chance to get an A. I'm like, dude doesn't even understand what I'm saying. An A starts from 70. How will I get an A when I've already gotten 3/30? That means I have to get 67, the thing I don't know. So my dad said, the person who is teaching you, is he a human being? I said, yes. He said, if the person can know it, you can know it. I got an A in that class because I was afraid of my dad. But I ended up becoming a TA for cost accounting for master's students in my second year because I never missed a point in costing ever. What happened to me? I was here, I'd never seen failure, and I gave myself only one option. And I said that option is that I must succeed. In 2010, exactly 8 years ago, December 17, I had a failure that changed my life completely. It completely changed my life. I was 7 months pregnant. I went to the hospital for an ultrasound and they told me the baby was dead. And they put me on admission and they started trying to get me to birth the dead baby. This was supposed to be my first child. This was supposed to be the thing that would hold my marriage together, that was breaking up. And I was losing it in front of my eyes. I want you to think about exactly how that made me feel. And at that time, I was organizing a Christmas party in Lagos for orphans. And the shaitan kept telling me, look, you are organizing party for people you don't know. And your own is dying. Where is your Allah? And I will whisper back in pain that I don't know what is happening. But I know that Allah can never leave me. This was a Friday. May Allah bless my masjid people. They came to the hospital and I started reciting Quran from that Friday. Friday, no progress. Saturday, no progress. Sunday, 5 minutes to 1 a.m. The nurse came to check me and she said, you're going to be here till maybe Tuesday. You're only 2 centimeters dilated. You can't go on. At that point, I said, Ya Allah, I have been here for 3 days. I didn't come and buy groceries. My life is going crazy. And I remember the hadith of the Prophet, he said that anyone that is in distress and recites the words of Yunus alayhi salam, Allah will relieve their distress. What are those words? Who knows the words? La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. When you have failure, remember those words. Think about those words of Yunus alayhi salam, because Allah did something great that time and He continues to do it. Allah removed Yunus alayhi salam from the belly of the fish, one level of darkness. Removed him from the belly, from the ocean, the belly of the ocean, another level of darkness, and removed him from the darkness of the night. 3 levels. So I said, oh Allah, I am not as good as Yunus alayhi salam, but I don't want to be here for 2 more days. And I want to have ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. I feel emotions, the same emotions I felt that day. By 2 minutes after 1, I'd had that baby. I was yelling, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. When you feel like you are at your lowest, when you feel like you failed, when you feel like there's no other way to go, remember those words of Yunus alayhi salam. Allah will relieve you of your distress, my sisters and my brothers. The shaitan wants you not to think about those words. The shaitan wants you to feel nothing but despair. But Allah says that if you call me, I will answer you. And if you understand that Allah says in Surah Al-Talaq that for everything there's a term appointed, that for that thing you are feeling, there's a term appointed. Wallahi, you will see light where you thought there was darkness. Assalamu alaikum.
I'm not quite so you might can go women to get married, that might go. Because I always talk about
I always give a disclaimer. She said she's not like the best Muslims. I don't know why you say that. But it's not the ultimate goal of Muslim women to get married. So I always give a disclaimer when I'm talking in Yasser or platforms that I'm not a Muslim scholar by any means. I flunked Ezekiel, but I am somebody who is learning from my experience and who is learning by reading. I've never seen it anywhere that is the ultimate goal of Muslim women to get married. I've never seen it. However, the Prophet ﷺ said marriage is part of his sunnah, right? Having been in a bad marriage and being in a good marriage, I say that marriage is good, but you must go in with your full face, with you, and you must go in with a guy who has the right amount of money. That money is not dollar bills, it's values. Values. A man who understands when Allah says that He has made men the head of the family, He has made them protectors of women. A man who wants to protect you. If my first husband said, don't do this, I will think about it 20 times that he's trying to stop me from something good. If my husband says, don't do this, I'll say he's trying to shield me from something that will harm me. But that's because not just that I trust him, I trust Allah. Allah is the only one who will never disappoint. But I chose him based on my trust in Allah. So marriage is good. I don't think it is like Salat. I don't think it's like the 5 pillars of Islam. But I think marriage is good and it's half of our deen. But we have to do it right. And we have to think about only Allah when we're choosing spouses. There's sometimes this my husband is good at it, he wants to drive me crazy. Like this morning. Yes. Let me tell you what happened this morning. Tell him. I told him that I was saving my voice for this talk. That I had lost my voice. That he should please go downstairs for breakfast. That I don't want to talk to anybody. He should go downstairs for breakfast and help me keep my own breakfast. And when the place is empty, he should call me. He said, okay. He called me. The place is empty. Who saw me when I came down? Was that place empty? And I got there and he was like, I was like, I told you that please don't. He said, but you have to eat before you speak. See, he did me bad, but he did it because he wanted me to eat. I was ready not to eat if the time wasn't there. The person will drive you crazy. At some point, I feel like throwing him out of the window. For real. But even when I feel like throwing him out the window, I still love him. Because I chose him knowing me. I didn't know him. I knew Allah. And I knew me. We can never talk about marriage in one session. But what we can do is to talk about knowing ourselves. You are young. Use the time that you have right now to go and know you. Go somewhere. Go on vacation alone. Without your phone. Without Snapchat. And Insta story. For real. I do this every year and I think my life has become better because I have like 5,000 friends on one Facebook page. Another 5,000 on that page. Then Instagram. Like, every day I find so much noise in my life. Everybody was saying I was past my expiry time. I realized that I was the one who was under pressure, who was feeling small, who was feeling inadequate. By the time I was single the second time, you couldn't tell me nothing. Say, when I used to get married, I say, when I used to prepare for a funeral, I would just answer you. I wasn't having it. The first time I was saying, my mommy, they said she's always crying in Lagos. Ishika said, no, Johnny, stop crying. It's not your time. But there is nothing, there is no barrier, no creation of Allah that Allah cannot subdue, including your parents. None, zero. No creation of Allah. Your parents are a creation of Allah. If you feel like the person they are choosing for you isn't right, speak with Allah. If any of you here offend me, it will be me, you and Allah alone in charge. I will pray, until you cannot sleep anymore. We have to see Allah as who He is. My brother, I'll tell you one last story and then I think you have to go. My brother lost his bag. He was going to resume a job in Iowa and he lost his carry-on. And that carry-on had his passport, had his work authorization, everybody on F1 here. You understand? You know the deal. His OPT was expiring in 1 week. He finally got a job and he lost everything. And we started calling Delta. They said the bag was not tagged. And there is no way they will ever find the bag. I said they don't know. If Allah wants to make you find something, He will make you find it. We started making dua. We were making dua. That bag was found intact in another city and flown to him in Iowa in the same day. Why? Because we were making dua. The dua of Yunus I gave you before, and also the dua of Ayub alayhi salam. Also in Surah Al-Anbiya, that Ayub, when he lost everything, he said to Allah, the affliction has touched me. He said, the affliction has touched me. And Allah said, in the ayah following that, Allah said that we relieved him and we gave him all he had lost in multiples. Why? The last part of that ayah, please don't forget, is because of people like you and I. Allah says as a testament to people like you and I. So don't ever think your parents or anybody else is an obstacle that Allah cannot subdue. Allah is Yah for her and He can subdue anyone. As long as you have cleared what you want to do with Allah, Allah will be on your side. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah increase you in knowledge. May Allah reward you with the best in this life and hereafter. And the Prophet says so, and to see on your behalf on the day of judgment.
Let's remember, there are a lot of sick people out there.
Inshallah, we have to put in the announcement, and then our next
So there is no feast marriage.